Have you ever had one of those moments? A really vivid image flashes in your mind and it feels like it came from somewhere completely outside of yourself. Well, today, we are diving deep into a fascinating spiritual guide from the 16th century that's all about this exact thing, a concept it calls imaginative visions. And trust me, its advice on what to do with them is probably the last thing you'd expect. All right, so first things first, we need to get really clear on what we're actually talking about here, because this guide isn't about your everyday daydreaming or your regular imagination. No, this is about something much, much deeper. Just try to picture it for a second. A fully formed image, maybe a figure or an idea, just appears in your mind's eye. You didn't see it with your physical eyes. You didn't hear it with your ears. It was just there. That's the world we're stepping into. So here's the key thing you have to get. An imaginative vision is considered a supernatural event. It's information that doesn't come through the normal channels of your five senses. It completely bypasses them and shows up directly in your mind. You can almost think of it like a direct download to your brain, communicated entirely through pictures and forms. And what's really interesting is the way the text describes our minds. It uses this analogy of an archive or a mirror to talk about our imagination and memory. This is the place, it says, where every idea and image we have gets stored. It doesn't matter if it came from the outside world through our senses, or, in this case, from a supernatural source. Well, this naturally leads us to the biggest, most critical question of all. If these incredibly powerful experiences aren't coming from you, then where exactly are they coming from? According to this guide, there are really only two main supernatural sources for these visions. And, being able to tell them apart is presented as a matter of spiritual life and death. So, on one side, you have visions from God. The text says these are meant to teach incredible wisdom and bring about a subtle but powerful change for the better inside you. The classic example given is Isaiah's mind-blowing vision of the seraphim. But then on the flip side, you have the devil, who also uses visions, but for deception. And these can be tricky. They might even look really good and holy, like the vision that tricked Ahab's prophets and led them straight to their doom. The whole point is to mislead. Okay, so let's say you've figured it out. You can tell the difference. You've discerned that a vision is the real deal, it's from God, and it's filled with truth. The next step seems pretty obvious, right? Well, maybe not. I mean, that's just logical, isn't it? If you get this beautiful divine message, a gift of grace, of course you should hold on to it, cherish it, and learn everything you can from it. But this is where our 16th century guide takes a hard left turn that you will not see coming. Just let that sink in for a minute. The text is crystal clear. It doesn't matter if the vision is from the devil or if it's from God. In both cases, the advice is exactly the same. Renounce it. Avoid it. Don't want it and don't accept it. I mean, that's a radical idea. Why on earth would you reject a genuine gift from God? So, what's the logic here? The text explains it with this really powerful metaphor. Think of direct union with God as pure, bright sunlight. A vision, even a gorgeous one, is like a stain or a curtain on the window pane. If you focus on the vision, the stain, you're actually blocking the pure light that you were meant to receive in the first place. Now, this whole idea isn't just pulled out of thin air. It's actually built on a really clear theological argument. The logic is surprisingly straightforward once you break it down. Okay, let's walk through it. Step 1. The ultimate goal of the spiritual life is union with God. And to unite with something, you have to become like it. Step 2. Every single vision has a specific form. It's an image, a figure, a concept. But, and here's the absolute key, step 3. God has no form. God is limitless, pure, and simple. So step 4. If you cling to any particular form, even a divine one, you are limiting yourself. You can't unite with the formless if you're holding on to form. In a way, it's this incredible 16th century argument for radical detachment. It's about not getting hung up on the experience of the divine, but seeking the divine itself. And the text doesn't just make this stuff up. It grounds the whole idea right in Scripture, pointing to this passage from Deuteronomy. When God spoke to the people from the fire on the mountain, they heard a voice, but they saw no image, no form, no likeness at all. This just drives home that core principle. The highest form of communication with God happens beyond all images. So if the path forward isn't through all these amazing visions, then what is it? Well, the text proposes what it calls a higher path, pure and simple faith. It describes this as a kind of vague, dark knowledge. Now, that sounds a little strange, maybe even scary, right? But it's not about being ignorant. It's about a deeper kind of trust. It's like learning to navigate by feel instead of by sight, relying on an inner connection rather than a clear map of images and ideas.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. This sounds really, really hard. If you're supposed to reject all the bright lights of visions and incredible spiritual experiences, how are you supposed to find your way? How do you walk in that kind of darkness?
And here we get this absolutely beautiful final metaphor. The text says that in this spiritual darkness where you've put out all the other lights, you have one thing to guide you, the testimony of your faith. And this faith, it's like a single solitary candle shining in a profoundly dark place. So here's the bottom line. The ultimate takeaway from this whole 16th century guide is that visions and consolations and all these supernatural experiences, they are not the goal. At best, they're a means to an end. At worst, they're dangerous distractions. The one true, safe, and totally sufficient guide is faith itself. It is the only light you're ever meant to follow. And that really leaves us with a pretty profound question to chew on, doesn't it? In a world that's just filled with images and information and experiences all screaming for our attention, what does it actually mean to close our eyes to all of that and choose to trust just one single light in the dark?